Hey, how's it going? Wanted to talk about Tim. How's this? Tim Pool and a video that I saw, and Black Lives Matter, and just the ridiculousness of some of the things that he says. It's like I'm not looking to be like Tim Pool. I do not want to sit here and cry about things. I don't want to do that. I want solutions. And solutions, real world solutions, not this pie in the sky nonsense. I'm not looking for utopia. I'm not looking for perfection. That doesn't exist with anything, anytime, anywhere. I want to make things better. That happens. We can do it. We can do it in our own personal lives where we can make things better. We can improve on things. That I'm interested in. I don't want to just cry and nag and virtue signal. I want answers. What about you? Do you want answers too? Are you tired of this? It's like, I want to be doing that. I want to be doing that right over there. I like that. I've been having a lot of fun with that. And I want to be working out there in the garage, doing things out there. It's like, that's great. That's fantastic. I love it. I love building and making things happen. I like spending time with like my friends. My little circle of friends is growing a little bit. On the weekends, some weekends, get together with some of them, and we do these little gaming sessions. Met a new guy, and he's just all into it, just super big. And he might be wearing me out because he's a little bit too much, but there's three of us doing this other little thing, and it's like, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And that's what I'd rather be doing besides this. I have no idea when I'm going to get a haircut. The place that I went to closed down after COVID, and it's just like, I just hate getting my haircut. It's such a pain. Anyways, I want solutions. I want good, accurate, up-to-date information, and I want these lying politicians and these businesses held accountable. I am so fed up with the corruption. It's like, we should get paid for it. You know what? If you're able to really put together a case and stop corruption, how much money are you saving? How much money gets swindled by corrupt people? Well, here's a good example of it right here. Black Lives Matter shut down fundraising days after liberal states threatened legal action. So I saw this with Tim Pool, so let's take a look and listen a little bit to what he says and some of the nonsense that he also has to say. Whenever it comes to reporting about lies and kind of who's corrupt, I really like what he has to say. Whenever it comes to the conspiracy theory and some of the virtue signaling that he does, I don't like that.
Over the past several days, Black Lives Matter has been embroiled in a major scandal over their fundraising. Where it's going, where's the money, who's in charge, no one's...
If that was too loud at the beginning, shoot me a little comment. Say, yeah, that was too loud, or... Because that was my speakers. I don't know about what was coming through the speakers and what's coming through OBS. I don't know how much, because the microphone is right there by the speaker, so surely it was louder. But was that too loud? Because it really kind of doesn't bother me. But compared to my voice, that's something I don't like, is that you'll be listening to someone, then they'll play something, and then that'll be really jacked up, and so you're kind of listening here, and then bam, you get blasted. It's like, I don't like that. So, but I'm not quite to that point yet. But anyways.
Seems to know. The Indiana AG says this is basically a scam and a house of cards. Even California is demanding to know what's going on with this money. It's so bad that Black Lives Matter, the official organization, has shut down online fundraising.
Okay, well, why? Well, why is this going on? I don't understand. I do not understand, with all the things that computers can do today, that all of this should be 100% public information. Black Lives Matter is not a business. They're a charity. And they're doing fundraising here. It's like it should. I remember being a little kid, and that there were people who were using fundraising scams to line their own pockets. I remember there was like, they were kind of stars. This guy and girl, they were singers. They teamed up, and they were doing some kind of fundraising charity thing. And then they got found out that I don't remember how much, but they like pocketed like a ton of it. They did it themselves. They got caught. I don't remember what happened because it was like, I was little. I was like in elementary school or junior high. And I remember that was like the first time that I felt like it was kind of a wake-up call that anybody could be bad anywhere, because being that young, I was still naive, as children are, and I thought, well, who would do that with fundraising? And it's like, oh, kind of a wake-up moment, if you will. So it's like, well, what is going on with politicians and their corruption? Well, this is just 300K that we know of. So, a person who's actually got all of this together is able to take it to court and actually win to pay them $10 million. It's like, well, this is just one instance. How many politicians are involved? How much money is really involved? How many other organizations is this happening? How long did this happen? It's like Black Lives Matter just didn't come out of nowhere. It's been around for years. So how many years? It's like, this is stupid. So yeah, whenever I say pay $10 million, I mean it, because it's out of a budget of 1.9, what is it, trillion right now? 10 million ain't jack. And you compare it to this, and then whenever you take the politicians' assets, which should absolutely happen, it's like that job of being a political candidate, it is not there to make you rich. It is there to serve the people. It is not to make you rich, powerful, influential, none of that stuff. To take care of the people. And I think the best way is just screw off. It would be nice if they standardize things to a point, such as with testing with schools. It's like, yeah, everybody needs to be able to pass this test before they move up to the next level. It's like, well, yeah, we don't want one place setting the bar too low, so there are some things that could definitely be standardized.
No one seems to know.
Why not? Why doesn't anyone know? Why isn't this all electronical? They don't have like some FBI top level security clearance, national security secret stuff going on. None of that. That if all their financials were released, so what? Well, what's that going to do? Is that going to lead to the demise of the United States or any other country? Is hell going to burst forth from the ground and burn us all alive? Well, what the hell's going to happen? Absolutely nothing. Besides, help bring transparency so that we know what the hell is going on. And the people should be able to absolutely get involved with this with checks and balances. There needs to be more checks and balances of the people putting the government in check with this crap.
What's going on with all of this cash? And I think it's upwards of $60 million. Now, this scandal.
Upwards of $60 million. That's only what they know of. Who knows what the real limit is? I mean, what are they going to do? If they get found out, are they going to whitewash their computers too, like Hillary Clinton did whenever she was found out with all this stuff? It's ridiculous. And whenever they, if it gets to that point where the government fixes this stuff, which I could care less because I've got answers for this crap, is that the politician should have to pay. Because you're not going to tell me for 1 second that none of this money is going back to the politicians. That some of this money went to help with some fundraising for the politician with some kind of charitable, the Clinton Foundation, for example. It's like, oh, yes, absolutely. Or that they hosted some dinner where it's like $1,000 a plate or something like that. And that's how you pay a lot of these politicians, is that they go on speaking tours and they have these outrageous sums that they charge because the plates are just absolutely ludicrous.
is massive. But when we take a look at what's going on in Illinois, it ropes in politics, and I think it's substantially worse.
This is just Illinois. It's like, well, isn't Black Lives Matter in 50 states? It's like, yes, it absolutely is. Which state doesn't have it? It's like, even in my little town here, well, it's not too little. It's kind of average size. We've got Black Lives Matter. And they showed up at the courthouse with George Floyd and all that nonsense. And it's like, you're idiots. You don't know what the hell's going on, but here you are marching and protesting. You're idiots. You're suckers. Except for the ones in charge. And those I believe to be more along the lines of being corrupt.
Democratic administration of Governor Pritzker in Illinois funneled COVID relief funds to a local chapter of Black Lives Matter.
And what's going to happen to this fool? Is the governor, is he going to be impeached or fired, in other words? Is he going to be fined? Is he going to have to pay this back? I mean, as far as I care, he stole $300,000. It should be coming out of his pocket. Now, let me put this into more practical terms. So I'm a landlord, and whenever I rent out a rental unit, I don't press charges on any of the guests that tenant has. I have no contract with them. I have no legal agreement with them. If it's like someone that's there and they're single and they have their significant other, a boyfriend or a girlfriend who's there, and they get into a fight, and so this happens a lot with girls, they'll lock themselves in the bathroom, and then the guy will come and kick in the door. What does he care? He's not living there. He doesn't know anything about anything. I don't go after the boyfriend. I don't have a lease agreement with him. I don't know his name. I don't know where he lives. I have absolutely nothing. I go after her. Or vice versa, if it happens to be a guy who would lock himself in the bathroom and she kicks the door in. But whatever the case may be, doesn't matter. I go after the tenant. And then the tenant has to go after whoever the hell it is that they let in that caused that damage. It's like, okay, well, if $300,000 is missing, then we go after the governor. And if the governor wants that money back in his own pockets, then he needs to go after Black Lives Matter. And that would be incredible. Because, or at least it has the potential to, because what all is going to come to light with that? Because they're going to go at it. The governor's going to be like, I'm just out $300K, which I gave to you. Yeah, it's wrong, but it's like, I don't want to be out $300,000. Maybe even more. Who knows? Whatever. It would make these politicians think twice if it's going to come out of my pocket if I get caught. You're going to sell my house? It's like, yeah, you don't need to be living in this huge freaking house that you have. It's like, what's wrong with living in a $50,000 house? It's still a house. Electricity, running water, walls and a roof. I don't care. Well, what makes you better than everyone else? I do not give one damn about maintaining your absurdly high standard of living. You screwed the people over. Now the people are going to get compensated for this stuff. All your fancy cars, your fancy clothes, all of it, just gone. Here's some Walmart stuff. Here's some Salvation Army stuff. Screw you. You had your chance. You screwed up. So, yeah. No, I'm not here to make you rich.
Under the guise of crime prevention, intervention, please. Democrats funneling money to Black Lives Matter. It's obvious this stuff is happening, right? But the problem here is...
Yeah, and it's like, all this money should be accounted for with computers and software where every last cent is going to. One of the things that I do as a landlord is that they have to pay in any way besides cash. Check, money order, whatever. So then that way there is a paper trail. So if there's any kind of problem, it's like, nope, here it is in black and white. Get out of my face with this stuff. I'm not playing games. Same thing with this. No cash. Not at all. Not for 1 second. Or I guess if there was cash, at a minimum, there would have to be a receipt. There would have to be some kind of paper trail involved with it to see exactly where everything is gone. And it's like if they decide to pay the people who are the head of Black Lives Matter stupid sums of money, it's like, well, if that's what they're going to do, that's what they're going to do. Then you have to decide, do you want to donate to them whenever they're donating stupid sums of money? It's like, how much responsibility is that going to put on these charities? Because this happens constantly. And Tim Pool talks about this, that he worked for a charity, I don't know how many, but at least one, and talked about how much money just went to the actual organization itself instead of actually doing what it was supposed to be doing. It's like, how many of these charity organizations would have to actually clean up their act? It's like, because if I found out that I was donating someplace and they were paying, the CEO of the place $300,000 and they were only making $350,000 and then another $40,000 was going to the rest of the employees and only $10,000 was going to the homeless or whatever. It's like, I would stop donating to them in a heartbeat. It's like, you're out of your goddamn mind. This isn't about helping the homeless. This is about paying you. So it's like, I'm not looking for perfect, but would that make things better? Absolutely. I don't want to hear any more just random crying virtue signaling. Oh, look at what we found. We found this corruption going on. I don't give a damn. I do not give a damn if you don't have some kind of better proposal so that this will be better so we can improve on this. I don't want to hear about this, because how many bad things are going on in the world right now? It's like all the time, everywhere. I want solutions. I do not care about having a discussion. I do not care about talking to anybody with anything if it does not involve a solution. Hopefully several solutions. And then testing them out and see what we can do and coming up with something and trying something and keep trying until it works. Because that's the only way that's going to happen. Otherwise, it's like, well, we're just going to keep doing the same thing. We're not going to make any changes. Well, then I guess the same thing's going to continue to happen.
This is COVID relief funding. Sure, the Biden administration has said some of this funding will go to crime prevention because the insane policies of these statewide and federal level Democrats have resulted in an insane increase in crime. So yeah.
And I agree with that too. It's like, you want to defund the police? It's like, well, you better bring some evidence for that before this happens. And a good place to start is with someplace smaller. It shouldn't be, well, the whole state's going to do this, or the largest cities in our states are going to do this. Okay, how about you start with the smallest ones first, and we gather the information from them, and let's see what happens. How about we start with all these places that have like 10,000 people, and we can do a whole bunch of them, gather a whole bunch of information, the information that we need to gather, because there's plenty of information that's completely worthless. And let's see what that says. And if we show results and it's like it's looking good, then we can move up, we can bump it up to a larger and larger and larger place until it's finally states, and then who knows, maybe even the federal government. But just this random nonsense of, oh, Black Lives Matter, let's fund them because it's like, no, I don't want your platitudes. I don't want these meaningless little sayings that they sound really sweet and nice, but there's no meat on the bone at all. There's nothing to it.
They're like, let's take some money and try and stop this. But to send it to Black Lives Matter, who rioted throughout 2020, causing billions of dollars in damage, dozens of people are dead.
And it's like, well, where's the accountability for that too? For all the damages that they've done? It's like, well, why should they be getting any funding of any kind? It's like there should be some standards and some qualifications that if you're going to be taking money, it's like you absolutely cannot be breaking the law and causing damages and rioting, because there's a difference between rioting and protesting. It's like you're just automatically gone. I don't understand that at all. That didn't make any sense either, because it's like we, the people, we could do that. It's like, oh, yeah, here we go. Here I am with my smartphone. And I'm taking pictures of this, videos of this, audio of this, and I'm submitting it. Here it is. They're breaking the law. Oh, okay, well, screw them, because we're wanting to make things better, not worse. Where did the money go? Oh, the money went to that 300,000 went to supplying buses to transport these people and to put together the signs and to buy things to the items that you would need to be able to throw flammable things and make things explode. They got hotel rooms, everything that they come with that brought them there as well. It's like, oh yeah, here's the receipts, here's the money. It's like, oh yeah, it's not just a video, but it's also, here's the paper trail. Oh, okay. It's like, yes, I want to know that. It's like, we can. You know what? Whenever it comes time for us to give up our money, man, the government can do that really well. But whenever it comes time to show what the government is doing with it, oh, it's not as good. Why not? Corruption, that's why.
And apparently, one of the leaders of the organization, the local chapter that received this money, was even charged with crimes related to protests in Kenosha. Not crime prevention. No, this is your tax dollars being given to overt partisans. It's supposed to be going out to...
Absolutely, and I don't care, Republicans, Democrats, I want every last one of these scoundrels brought up on charges. I want all of this. I want every last cent that this fool has. You know what? I want him to have like $30,000 whenever he's left. Let's take that number. Let's just chop a zero off of it. It's like you got nothing. You can live in the slums. You have no idea what it's like for the average American. So guess what? We're going to make you one. You squandered what you had. We have over 300 million people in the U.S. Time for somebody else. And if we have to cycle through them like mad so we can find the good one, then so be it. Because I tell you what, you staying in office, that sure as hell isn't it.
To help us when our businesses are destroyed, when these policies have destroyed our economy, when we're in very serious time.
There's a good example of someone who would be highly encouraged to do this, and that's the people who have had their businesses destroyed by all this crap. It's like, oh, you know what? I can get $10 million for exposing this corruption, and my business just got burned down to the ground?
Of strife, and instead, at least some of the funding, not all of it, ends up in the hands of extremists. It's absolutely remarkable. And a lot of these funds did go to legitimate...
Some of them are extremists because they're stupid, but I would say the people pulling the reins they're just corrupt. Because extremists, I mean, you're talking about... These are the extremists. They're a bunch of idiots. They don't know their left from the right. They're not masterminds at all. They're not scamming anybody. They're not running the organizations. It's this guy and others like him. They're working together. The Black Lives Matter and that the people who are running Black Lives Matter and the people who are running the who have control over the government funds. They're in cahoots. It's not these extremists, they're being used. These people just... No, it's not the extremists. It's corruption.
Organizations ensure you can make the...
And it's because there's not nearly enough transparency.
Point that we do want to stop crime, as I said. But Black Lives Matter is overtly partisan. They are overtly violent. They are overtly disruptive. Not every single one of them, mind you, but this is absolutely inappropriate. But not surprising.
and I don't want to hear it. You know, Tim's just saying all this, and it's like, and I guess that's okay for Tim because he's not an activist. He's not a politician or anything. He is just doing news and just reporting on it. So I'll throw him a bone with that. But I also don't like his virtue signaling. So we're going to forward ahead a little bit.
There might be like 5 good Republicans and like 2 good Democrats, to be completely honest. This is what they do. The Democrats encourage, support, and even fund the extremism. Kamala Harris soliciting donations to bail out rioters. Then you...
Oh, there's another good example. It's like, no political figure should be involved in any kind of criminal activity. If you are just a driver and you're a part of a crew to go rob a bank, even though you stay in the car, you are still held liable for everything that happens inside that bank as it's getting robbed. Somebody gets killed, you're an accessory to murder. Even though you're not the one that actually went in and robbed the bank, you're still an accessory to that. For everything those fools do. Why do these politicians get away with this? It's like, no, if she's going to bail them out, then she's an accessory to these riots. And she needs to be held accountable just as if it was us. It's like, no, that's ridiculous. She has no ties to these people. It would be different if this was like friends and family members, you know, or perhaps the organization, but her, and I'm sure there's ways you could get around it. You could donate money to the organization and then they could bail them out. But it's like, it is just so blatantly obvious that she doesn't even care because the system is just so screwed up and the corruption is just, it's like, she doesn't care and she did it and she got away with it. BS. It's like, change it up. If it was like Jeffrey Dahmer, who's a serial killer, and she went out and there was whoever, I'm sure there's serial killers all the time, every single year. Whoever the current serial killer is, if she went and she did this for that guy, screw you. What the hell's wrong with her? Put her under investigation. Why is she supporting a murderer? I don't care what the crime is. You know, it's like that. That's not your place. If she feels like it's wrong, of all the people out there, she is one of those people where she's in politics. It's like, change the law. Change the law so it's right. Don't be doing this. If you feel like this is so wrong and that they need to be let out, then change the system. But you know why she doesn't? Because nobody's ever going to agree to that. Oh yeah, it's okay to go and to vandalize. Okay, well then it's not okay for you to be supporting these people either, because as we watched with that guy yesterday, the majority of people are the law-abiding citizens. When are you going to start doing for the majority of the people instead of the minority? Because you know what? I am the majority, as are all of you. And that is, we are law-abiding citizens. When are you going to start doing for us?
You get all of this destruction, and what happens? The Democrats come out and they say, oh, we need federal funding and relief, and then send federal funds back to the states because of the problems, and then in Illinois, they give that money to the extremists. Remarkable. Let me show you how insane it really is. From the Washington Examiner, Black Lives Matter's millions unaccounted for shuts down fundraising days after liberal states threaten playing to you. When the far left extremist building,
it's around 13 minutes.
They didn't call it an insurrection. Yo, you need to get out there and vote in the primaries. You need to get out there and vote local. You need to vote at the state level.
I thought it was he somewhere in the video. I'll have the link in the description below, so if you want to watch it, he talks about how, yeah, well, we care about the environment, because he doesn't stay just on one topic whenever he talks about the stuff. Neither do I. That's kind of rare for anyone. But he starts talking about, yeah, we care about the environment, and we get these little disposable cups, and it's really good. And it's like, that doesn't help the environment at all. Well, what helps the environment is innovation. But he was just boasting about it and bragging. It's like, oh yeah, we've got these disposable cups, you know, and they just biodegrade it. It's like, you know what's better than that? Buy a metal cup. Because this stupid thing, it'll last your whole life. You know what you have to do, though? Is that you can't treat it like crap. This will last your entire life. Just one of them. You know the way that you really help the environment? Is through innovation. And it just drives me up the wall whenever I hear him talking about this stuff with recycling and helping the environment, especially because he talks about how, well, I watched Star Trek The Next Generation. It's a great show. It's like, you don't act like it. Because it's like one of the fundamental things that they have on that damn show is these things called replicators. And that's where they can change things on a molecular level. Make whatever you want to. You know what else you can do? Is that it goes in reverse. And you can recycle things. And this happened more on Voyager, where you could take something and you could recycle it and use it for something else. They talked about it because they were stranded out in the Delta Quadrant. It's like, that's what we do right now, though. Whenever you cook something, that's what you're doing every single time. You're taking one thing, you're changing it a little bit into something else. Every single time. That's what chemistry is. That's what cooking is. At some point in time, we are going to learn how to replicate whatever we want to. I don't know if it'll be in 1 year, 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, but it's at some point in time, because they're talking about nanotechnology now. Whenever I was a little kid, what? No concept of it whatsoever. And it continues. At some point in time, we'll be able to do that. And then we'll be able to recycle everything. Don't tell me about your damn stupid cups. Recyclable or metal or whatever, I do not care. I want innovation. I want new technology. And you know the way that happens? By up-to-date, accurate information. I don't care who you are. If this is something that you want to do, I want you to be able to have all the information available at your fingertips that is good, accurate, reliable, so that if this is what you want to do, then more power to you. Go knock yourself out. But where would you start? Exactly where is the frontier with recycling anything? Glass, metal, paper? I have no idea. I don't know where you would go. It's like, why don't we all have access to that information? Stupid. But it's not this virtue signaling recyclable cups that degrade. Shut up. That is not progressing anything into what we want. We want to eliminate it. That's not there. It's not there at all. 32 minutes into the video, I always say to myself, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. You got to do 10 minutes. Come on, man. Nah, it's pretty hard. I've got a lot to say. But if you want change, if you're tired of all this stuff and you want to see actual plans being formulated, being implemented, if you want that kind of change to happen at some point in time, it's like, we can do it. I'm going to do it. I invite you to join me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you later. Bye.